Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Penitentiary Kingpin. Roxanne's world has been turned upside down. Just when she thought life was great under the circumstances and could only get better if St. John were home, everything was falling apart. Now, to save the ones she loves, she has to help the feds bust up a drug ring inside the prison. In her first sit-down with Special Agent Ferguson, after she agreed to work for her, she finds out who the targets are. Rome's former plug has been supplying drugs to several prisons throughout the state. Without knowing it, Roxanne destroyed years' worth of investigation by pushing Rome out of the dope game. Luckily for her, she hadn't cut ties with the plug yet. This made her useful. Plus, she had established herself with him as a straight shooter, someone that lived by and respected the street code. His name is Arthur Cunningham, and he's the most powerful drug dealer supplying the state's prison system. Roxanne's role is to continue to work with him until she finds out who his source is and how many people are on his payroll. She was in a perfect position to play him because, unlike Rome, she wasn't in prison. She could get closer to him than Rome could because she's a woman. From here on out, every phone call you make to Arthur will be recorded. So be mindful of that when you're on the phone talking to St. John. I'll be the only one listening, so please lighten up on the phone sex with your boyfriend. I've heard enough of you and him to last me a lifetime, Ferguson said. How am I supposed to act normal with him if I stop all of a sudden doing what we normally do, said Roxanne. I'm not telling you to stop. Just be mindful that I'm on the phone too. How long have you been listening to me? Since your first conversation with Greg, we've had your phone tapped. You're a smart, capable woman. Why did you decide to start selling drugs in prison anyway? Because that's all I've ever seen my mother do. You do what you see. I don't expect you to understand that. Oh, I understand. My father's in prison doing life because he believed he had no options too. So I get it. I talk to him every week, and he tells me how proud he is that his daughter works for the FBI. I cry every time he tells me that, but I love to hear it because I know that he lives on the opposite side of what I believe in, but yet he's still proud of me. Roxanne didn't know what to say. She didn't expect to hear what she heard. For the first time in her life, she was in the presence of somebody that had a similar background, but went the other way. She got out, Roxanne thought. She took another path. Throughout her years of law enforcement, Ferguson had seen the look that Roxanne had on her face now. She didn't want to take advantage of her being vulnerable, but her training had taught her to. So she moved in like a shark, smelling blood in the water. Roxanne, she said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Through teary eyes, she said, I wanted to be married to St. John and out of this neighborhood. I promise you, if you give me all you got and help me stop these drugs from going into the prison, I guarantee you that I will help you in any way I can have the life that you want. When St. John goes up for parole, I will be there speaking, on his behalf. Just give me all you got and help me. Promise me that. Roxanne wiped her tears away, looked at Ferguson and said, "Let me get that in writing." Ferguson looked at her and laughed because she knew she didn't necessarily need that in writing, but Roxanne had took the bait. "You don't trust me?" "Yeah, I trust you to do what's best for the FBI and yourself." "Okay, hold on a second." Ferguson took out her phone and called her supervisor. Put him on speakerphone. She said, "Sir, I have Roxanne here with me. I told her that if she gives us all she has and helps us, that I would testify at her boyfriend's parole hearing and help him get out. She wants it in writing." "Roxanne, how are you today?" "I'm Special Agent in Charge Duncan." Now, Duncan knew that this was not something that was needed in writing. If Ferguson wanted to testify at the hearing, she could do so on her own accord. But he knew that this was a trick that she was playing on Roxanne, so he played along. "Hello," Roxanne said. "I'll go to the Attorney General and get what you want in writing if you help us." "Thank you," Roxanne said. Ferguson hung up the phone, looked at Roxanne and said, "It's on you now. You just heard the boss tell you. You help us, we got you. And you can have the life you want. I'll even go one step further. You know, when we usually have cases like this, where informants help us take down a big drug ring, you get a percentage of what we confiscate. So you can get up to 10%, maybe even 20% of what we confiscate from Arthur Cunningham. All you have to do is help us. Give us all you got. Don't hold anything back. And we got you." The week had flew by, and Roxanne and her mother Tiffany were a wreck. They hadn't had much sleep, they couldn't eat, but they had to put on. They couldn't let anybody know what was going on. She was excited to see St. John, but sad at the same time because for the first time, she wasn't able to be completely honest with him. And that bothered her. She prided herself on being honest with him. This was the first relationship where they had no secrets, no lies. On the ride up there, Leah could tell something was wrong with Roxanne. "Are you okay?" she said. "Yeah, I'm all right. I just got a lot on my mind." Leah didn't know what was going on, but something didn't feel right. This wasn't Roxanne. Roxanne wanted to tell Leah what was going on, but she couldn't. That was the way she wanted it. She had gotten them all into this mess, so it was on her to make sure that they were all safe. When they got to the visitation gallery, Roxanne, she kissed St. John, and after the kiss, she held on to him a little longer than usual, squeezing him tight, shaking. "What's wrong, baby?" he said. "Nothing. Just a lot on my mind," she said. When Leah came out of the restroom, she hugged Ben, handed him the pack, and sitting at the table, she said to St. John, Something is going on with Roxanne. I don't know what it is, but something is off." They all looked at Roxanne, but she played it off. "I'm good, y'all. Y'all ain't never had a lot on your mind. I'm just trying to figure some stuff out." "But let's talk business," Roxanne said. "Next week, Officer Baxter will be bringing in 3 ounces. Which one of you can get to her the easiest?" She knew by getting their mind on business, they would get off of her. "I can," St. John said. "Do you have buyers?" "Yeah, I got buyers." "I do too," said Ben. "I got buyers waiting." "We'll split it up, and I'll try to send more in next week. The sky's the limit because of this drought, said St. John. What she didn't tell them was that she would continue to deal with Rome's plug, Arthur. She wanted them to continue to believe that she was working with Greg and that Rome was cut off somewhere in PC. They had to believe this, because if they knew otherwise, then they would start to question her. Why did you go back? What's going on? This, that, and the third. She didn't need that. She didn't want them to try to figure out. She wanted them to focus on the plan that they had all laid down together. I can't believe how easy this is, said Ben. We got this place on lock. Roxanne looked at him and thought to herself, if he only knew. If he only knew. On the way home, Leah and Roxanne rode mostly in silence. This wasn't like Roxanne, Leah thought. Something big must be going on with her. Something is off. But Leah couldn't take it anymore. She said, girl, I don't know what you got going on, but you can tell me. I got your back no matter what. Leah wouldn't back up. She just kept pushing and pushing. Roxanne knew that everybody says this in this neighborhood until they find out that you're working with the police. Do you trust me? Roxanne said. Girl, you know I trust you. You got me taking drugs into the prison in my coochie. If that ain't trust, what is? Leah laughed. Sometimes when you trust somebody, you have to live in the dark. Let them drive the car and back off. If I could tell you what was going on, I would. Okay, I'll back off. But whatever it is, you can tell me. Just know that, hell, even if I don't like what it is, I won't turn on you, no matter what. I appreciate you, but I can't tell you anything right now. I'm not even sure what's going on. I got to get my mind right. Roxanne pulled up to Leah's house. Leah sat there for a few seconds, looking at Roxanne, tears rolling down her face. I love you, Roxanne. I want you to know that. Reaching out, she put her hand on top of Roxanne's and just squares it. Give me a call when you feel like talking. When Roxanne got home, she sat in the car for a while, getting herself together. Ferguson was waiting. How did the visit go? It was hard. They all could tell something wasn't right. But I stuck to the script. I need you to go meet Arthur and buy those 5 ounces from him. Okay, let's do it. Before you go, though, we have to put a wire on you to record the conversation. I want to wear a wire. Can I just have my phone on record? Not this time. We have to play it by the book. Okay, then. But you need to check into that. I don't want to wear a wire. What if they pat me down? I've never been in his house. Listen. We need you to find out if he's got a girlfriend. Somebody we can approach. We've been at him for 5 years and we still don't know if he's got a girlfriend. We don't know that much about him at all, other than he's supplying. But we need to find out who's got him so we can twist him up. How am I supposed to do that? Flirt with him. You're a woman. He's a man. How many men you know, especially dope boys, would turn down a woman flirting with them? I don't know any. Roxanne said, I'm not doing that. Remember our deal. You agreed to give us all you had, and in exchange, we're going to give you the life that you want. What if he wants to take it further? Do I have to fuck him too? Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. This concludes episode 4 of Penitentiary Kingpin. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.